may be to blame for the drone that hit a U.S. base in Jordan, killing 3 American soldiers as they slept and wounding more than 40. But they suspect support from Iran's Revolutionary Guard Corps.
The work has all the hallmarks of groups that are backed by the IRGC and in fact, by Kataib Hezbollah as well.
That group, mentioned earlier today by National Security Council spokesman John Kirby, has since announced it is suspending operations against U.S. forces and will defend people in Gaza in other ways. President Biden telling reporters earlier he has decided how to respond to the deadly drone attack. Fox's Jackie Heinrich at the White House.
We don't know what he has decided, but he was reportedly considering either strikes on Iranian personnel and assets in Syria and Iraq or Iranian assets in the Persian Gulf. Now, not among those options are strikes inside Iran, even while admitting that Iran is ultimately responsible.
The president saying he holds Iran responsible in a sense because they supply the weapons, but also saying he's not looking for a wider war in the Middle East. Just getting word that actor Alec Baldwin will be arraigned Thursday in New Mexico after being charged again with involuntary manslaughter for a fatal movie set shooting. A pioneering performer has died. Perhaps best known for that song from West Side Story, Chita Rivera, first getting attention as Anita in the original 1957 production. She went on to a long career that included 10 Tony nominations, winning 2, forging a path for Latina artists along the way. She was also awarded the Presidential Medal of Freedom in 2009. Chita Rivera was 91. The Dow up 133 at the bell to a new record close. America is listening to Fox News.
These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
What's up?
I'm tired of feeling so bloated.
That used to be me. Then I got this.
Align Bloating Relief plus food digestion. A probiotic, right?
Yeah, it works naturally with your gut to help soothe occasional bloating and gas. Plus, it has vitamin B12 to aid digestion by helping convert food to cellular energy. 2 benefits, 1 capsule.
Align Bloating Relief plus food digestion from the #1 doctor-recommended probiotic brand. Get $5 off at alignprobiotics.com.
You're all set with your Medicare prescriptions, Mrs. Brown.
This is not just low-cost copays at Walgreens.
I can actually help you set up 90-day refills if you want.
This is having a partner you can trust. Get low-cost copays, 90-day refills, and delivery from your neighborhood Walgreens. This is being independent. Together. Walgreens.
Restrictions apply. For details, see walgreens.com/pharmacy.
Ohio could follow Alabama's lead with a new form of capital punishment.
With lethal injection declared no longer an option, Ohio hasn't executed anyone since 2018, though the state's Republican Attorney General Dave Yost is helping push a legislative effort that would bring nitrogen gas executions to the state, a process that played out in the execution of a convicted killer in Alabama last week.
It's important to recognize that Europe is already using this for assisted suicide. It's a reasonable way to accomplish this goal.
Proponents call it humane and effective. Critics call it cruel and experimental. Right now, the numbers show Ohio has 118 men and 1 woman currently on death row.
Fox's Jeff Manasso. Mississippi and Oklahoma already allow nitrogen hypoxia as a form of execution, but only Alabama has used it. While Congress debates security on the southern U.S. border, a big drug bust focusing on the northern border.
FBI Assistant Director in Charge Donald Alway details arrests in an alleged drug trafficking organization.
12 defendants have been taken into custody and 7 fugitives are still outstanding.
Officials also announcing charges against a Canadian national they say purchased methamphetamine from suppliers connected to cartels in Mexico, using a network of truck drivers and distributors in Los Angeles to move the drugs into the U.S. and Canada. Drugs seized include 800 kilograms of methamphetamine, approximately 951 kilograms of cocaine, and 20 kilograms of fentanyl.
The estimated wholesale value of the drugs seized is between $16 and $28 million.
Dubbed Operation Dead Hand. Kristen Goodwin, Fox News.
Recapping Wall Street, the Dow finishing up 133. That's a new record close at 38,467. The S&P slips 3 points, but stays above 4,900. The NASDAQ drops more than 100. And Lisa Brady, Fox News.
Hello again, everyone. Let's check weather for Central Illinois, Champaign-Urbana vicinity. Kind of a weak clipper system making its way through the Midwest. It'll impact the area for the day today with perhaps a stray shower of rain and wet snow this morning and perhaps the same later this afternoon, but it'll be a number of precipitation-free hours for the day today. Highs up near 38 degrees. Overcast skies by and large. Westerly breezes will bottom out tonight to about 32 with a few lingering snowflakes and sprinkles this evening. For the day tomorrow and into Thursday, milder weather, including Friday too. Partly sunny. Highs to about 44 tomorrow. Light west to southwesterly winds down near freezing tomorrow night. And February 1st on Thursday, partly cloudy, even milder ties with a southwesterly wind shifting northeast to 51. Will cool just a bit over Friday into the weekend, but still above average temperatures and dry into early next week as well. 48 Saturday. Highs in the mid to upper 40s Saturday and Sunday. Still into the 40s for Monday and Tuesday of next week. And beyond that, still mild but increasing wet weather back into play. For Stevie J Broadcasting, I'm meteorologist Greg Soldier.
How are we feeling, fellas? Hey, what's up? It's The Drive. Tay and Piper, Derek Piper, Lon Tay, Kyle Tosk, ESPN Radio 93.5. Game day once again for the Illini. They've been on a stretch of 2-day preps. I know that being at Ubben yesterday, I think it was 15 or 17 straight days of not having a day off for the Illini and company. I know when you get to the next level, those that will play in the NBA, that's very commonplace.
They just take the day off, though.
Yeah, right. Load management. Set the fourth quarter. We'll just give up and lose this game by 40 points.
We're good.
We're all right. But the Illini back in action in Columbus tonight against a reeling Ohio State squad, one that's lost back-to-back games in 5 of their last 6. I know that will sound somewhat familiar. Now, it was to a different degree last year when I think Ohio State had lost 10 of 11 when Illinois went there. But they were Ohio State's get-right game last season. You hope that it's not the case this time around as the Illini looking to hang in the Big Ten race, getting a chance at what is right now a quad 1 win if you were to obtain it tonight. But I'll rephrase and re-ask, what do you guys think tonight? What's the vibes as we kick off this show? We'll talk a lot of Illinois, Ohio State. We'll hear from Brad Underwood, what he said yesterday to the media, but that's kind of where I want to start today. How you guys feeling?
I don't know why, but I'm always worried when we go to Ohio State. I think a lot of it is the atmosphere. It's a huge hockey arena, essentially. There's really never that many Ohio State fans there, which is odd. Now, if they're winning, obviously they come, but it'll just be kind of a weird feel. And for some reason, it seems like we're always playing them like on some weeknight game, which that's just stupid to say because you always play people on weeknights. But it's just like, I don't know. I'm always worried about playing Ohio State, and I have no idea why. Thornton went off last year, and it was kind of a gut punch for that team, but there were a lot of gut punches for that team. The good news for me is even though Illinois has kind of scuffled a bit lately, I still don't see this team losing a game like tonight. So that's kind of how I feel. I don't feel great about it. I don't feel like they're going to go out and just wipe Ohio State off the court, but I do think they'll get it done. Kyle?
Yeah, I think I'm pretty much with you there. I'm a little uneasy about it, just haven't seen how Illinois looked here since Terrence has come back, knowing that he's not right. Also, just looking at Ohio State, they're so much more talented than a team that's looked this horrible that you almost feel like, especially one of these home games for them, it's bound to, those two guards are bound to just have great games. And it's just, I don't know. Last year they just completely free-falled for most of the year, so maybe that's overthinking it, but I feel like they're kind of due, and I feel like if Illinois goes in there and isn't sharp, all of a sudden you let them get hot, and it could get a little dicey. But I do think that Brad Underwood is going to have these guys motivated after such a sleepy game on Saturday. I think they'll probably win, but I'm a little uneasy about it.
Now, Pipes, I will say this: Thornton did have 20 his last time out.
He did, yep.
So I'm kind of glad that happened. Not that a guy can't catch fire and get consistency and gain confidence by a game like that, and I certainly believe he can. He's a kid that really hasn't shot a lot from the from the 3-point line.
Mm-hmm.
Teams have done a good job making him drive, but he kind of likes that. He's strong and he can get around you. I'd rather him hurt us with drives like that, I think, than hitting threes. But I'm kind of glad he got off a little bit, if you will, to where it's not like Kyle just said, like, boy, Bruce Thornton has been struggling, but tonight he leads Ohio State with 34 as we play here in the second half. And it's like, why? So I'm kind of glad that. Who's the one kid, you wrote about him, the one kid that hardly does anything?
Oh, but he leads Evan Mahaffey.
Yeah, now that kid is their engine. And I've seen them play a few times. And when he's going, when he's playing defense, when he's getting steals, which he leads them in steals, he's the guy that can really, especially at home, can kind of get that crowd involved. So, he's one of those guys that almost at the end of the day, you're like, who was that and why did he have such an impact on a game? He's kind of that guy. So he scares me a little bit in the sense that he's pretty good defensively. He doesn't really worry about offense, but he's pretty good defensively, and he's one of those just effort guys. Like Lucas Johnson was 10 times better offensively than this kid is right now. I'm not saying he couldn't develop, but he's kind of that Lucas guy who's going to bring the energy. He's going to get Ohio State going on some runs. He'll steal a ball here and there. He'll get a tough rebound. He'll get a good stop. So he worries me a little bit, but I think if those two things, I think if you can just keep Thornton kind of going like he has, he'll get to double figures. He will. And then don't let Mahaffey have such a big impact on the game. I think those are two things I'm going to watch for tonight.
Yeah, that's a good point. And you don't want to get out-toughed on the road. And
right.
They're going to be hungry. Like Ohio State should needs this, really. Chris Holtmann in probably a do-or-die year, currently not projected to be in the NCAA tournament. They've fallen off a cliff where they were pretty much on a fast track to being like a top-half Big Ten team, a squad that was top 40 in the metrics, and now they're in the 60 range and not even on like the first four out or even the next four out as I pull up Joe Lunardi right now, a new bracketology out there. So Ohio State needs to get going down the stretch of this season to put them back in the picture of being a tournament team. Otherwise, that could be all she wrote for Chris Holtmann because we back-to-back years without a tournament. And like Kyle said earlier, you would say it back-to-back seasons of they're more talented than this. Like their roster has talent. I know they're like a younger team. It's crazy when I'm writing the preview. I'm like, sophomore. When I'm writing out their starting lineup, I'm like, wow, no one does this anymore.
No.
But that's kind of what they're looking at. But Bruce Thornton was a problem last year. We've talked about point guards giving Illinois some issues of late. One thing that is a little different between like Boo Buie and Jameer Young is you may not have to respect that outside jumper as much with Thornton. Maybe you can go under his screens.
That was a good point. You wrote about that today. I thought it was a great point.
Right. And
until he hits the first one, and then it's like, uh-oh.
Which he can hit threes.
Sure.
It's just 27% in Big Ten play. I think he'll live with that early.
Yes.
And Ty Rodgers, I think, it's a better matchup for him than maybe a tiny, speedy guard where a guy that wants to be physical with you, and Ty obviously can handle that. Just don't want to get him in foul trouble. But Thornton is, in that mid-range. He can hit, and I think Illinois' ball screen coverage is going to be really important. Jamison Battle, we've seen what he's capable of, 31 points here last year in Champaign. And he's been super efficient for Ohio State. Now, one thing falling under the category of hasn't been playing all that well recently, that does apply to Jamison Battle. He had a season low 5 points at Northwestern over the weekend, 1 for 6 from 3, went 1 for 8 from 3 at Michigan a few weeks ago. So a guy that leads the Big Ten in three-point shooting has been off of late. So could he have a get right at home? He could. Now, Illinois traditionally or characteristically under Brad Underwood limits teams from beyond the arc. So I think that's something that you look at and say, okay, they should be able to, based on their profile, limit him. But, of course, you're going to want to match up, whether that's Terrence or Marcus. I think the interesting choice between, do you want Terrence on like Roddy Gale Jr., who's been up and down all season? He's had some explosive outings, but also some duds. Or do you want him on Battle, who we know can be one of the more dangerous shot makers out there? So Ohio State capable offensively. Defensively, they've given up quite a bit in the Big Ten. They're towards the bottom in the league in defensive metrics. So it should profile as a good game for Illinois on the offensive end. But this is a team that needs a little bit more flow and in sync, and getting Terrence back is obviously a big part of that. So I'll be interested to see what that looks like tonight.
The one thing that I'm impressed with Battle is he doesn't need much room to get that shot off. And early in the season, you're right. I think the very first Big Ten game, he came out, went like 6 for 6 from the three-point line and never looked back. I mean, until recently where that has struggled. Maybe it's the means thing. Maybe he was way better than what he normally is early, and now he's kind of coming back to where he should be. He's a good player. We saw that at Minnesota. I didn't realize that he was that good of a shooter, that consistent of a shooter. To me, it's almost like DeMonte, when all of a sudden he couldn't shoot one year and then the next year was just lights out. But Battle's a guy that I've been impressed with in terms of, I mean, he's not ultra quick. He's not ultra strong, but he probably has like man strength, that kind of guy. But he's one of those that not necessarily digs himself deep inside to get buckets. He works kind of that perimeter, and he's not ultra quick because of his size, but yet it only takes him a split second to get a shot off. And he's a lefty, so you know he can shoot well, it seems like. But you worry about that. And, I mean, it could be as simple as watching these guys early in this game and seeing if Battle hits an early three, and then that kind of worries you. Same with Thornton. Like, does he come down and use that, high ball screen to get around and get some easy buckets? He has 6 of their first 10, and then you start to worry about that as well. But when did the high ball screen come into basketball? When did that start, where you brought the big man to the top of the key and then you work offense around it?
Probably predates me, I would imagine.
I just don't remember that growing up. I just don't. And maybe I'm totally wrong. I just don't remember a big man in my day never came out of the lane.
True.
I mean, they had to come out of the lane every 3 seconds. But you get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I mean, they never came up close to the three-point line, if you will. And obviously they've done it a while. I'm not saying it started 3 years ago, but man, it's just it's hard to guard. I hate watching it. I hate watching that kind of style of basketball, but obviously it is very impactful, especially when it's working, and when you have a guard like Jameer Young or someone like that that can really light you up coming off that. So the thing that you had written about as well is Coleman kind of showing a little bit more, being a little bit more aggressive on that to make sure that Thornton's not getting that easy 15-foot jump shot. So I think that's something that's important tonight, because he can hit those daggers all day, and that can hurt.
Right, yeah. I think Coleman just has the mobility to be able to show a little bit more and come up on those ball screens. I feel like against Northwestern, we talked a lot about it, he played too deep in the drop coverage.
Yes.
I just think that is just ignoring or limiting what he's able to do as far as coverage-wise. So if you come up too far, could they throw lobs to Okpara? Yeah, they obviously could. Although I think Illinois, if you look at the way some teams defend ball screens, when you have a non-shooter out there like Mahaffey, you could, let's say Quincy's on Mahaffey. If Coleman shows extra on Thornton in the ball screen, then maybe Quincy can sag off into the paint to make sure that there's no quick pass into Okpara and he's able to get a dunk. So I think that's one way that you can combat that. I just feel like Illinois needs to vary up their coverages a little bit more in ball screens going forward. And that's kind of more of a big picture thought of what teams could maybe look to exploit down the road in the NCAA tournament and whatnot. I feel like just some unpredictability in what Coleman's going to do, or just adjusting to what a certain team presents. Like if there's a really good guard who is going off on you, then maybe you want to just get the ball out of his hands. And I feel like with Coleman's mobility, he can blitz guys, double teams, make them give it up. I know Brad doesn't like having his guys play in rotations or scramble mode because he wants to stick on shooters. He doesn't want to have help here and then kick out wide open three. That goes against what their principles are defensively, but I do think that that's something that I would look for, because I think Coleman can cover up so much to where maybe you don't even need that help, just to kind of give the guy with the ball in his hands coming off the pick that the thought that Coleman might come at me or might get a hand in my face on this jump shot. So just that split second is enough time for a guy like Ty or Terrence or Justin Harmon to recover a little bit more to get back into position.
That's a solid 15-minute breakdown on Ohio State. Now, how about Illinois? How are they going to get this offense rolling again, Pipes? And it is something that was stagnant against Indiana. Obviously, when you're missing shots, that hurts your offense. And everything is great in the world when shots go. I mean, we understand that. Everything looks good. Your defense looks good. You want to play defense when you make a shot. Your transition looks good because you're making shots. I mean, there's a lot of different things that go into it with regards to that. I'd love to see Illinois get back to where they were in terms of just dominating people rebounding-wise. And Ohio State's not exactly a team that is bad on the boards. They're a pretty good rebounding team. And half of it is because they can't make anything. So they get a lot of offensive rebounds, but they do play good enough defense. And I think they're one of the best in the Big Ten, if not the best, at guarding the three, which leads to obvious rebounds because so many people take threes. And Ohio State they're a team that's gotten up there in the 40s quite a bit this year in rebounds per game. So I don't know if this is the team Illinois just goes out and absolutely dominates on the boards, but I'd like to see them win that battle against a good rebounding team in Ohio State. But offensively, it all stems right with Shannon, getting him going, getting him looks and making sure that you said it the other day that he's playing downhill. It seems like since he's come back, he's played uphill, right?
Yeah,
like nothing seems easy. Nothing seems fluid. And when he's at his best, he's taking the ball downhill where every time he's got it, somebody is in like defense mode because he's about ready to go around you or through you for a bucket and the foul. So I guess getting him going would be nice in terms of doing that. And, this Illinois offense, again, I don't want them to be trigger happy, but if Damask and Coleman, I feel like Coleman really hasn't held back. I know Brad wasn't happy with the Indiana game that he could have taken a few more threes, but Guerrier, I feel like with Guerrier and Coleman, we know Goody's going to get a shot. I mean, if he gets an opening, it's going up. That's what he's out there to do. But with Damask and Guerrier and Coleman, I hope they're not a little bit hesitant to fire away if they get a good open look, because I'm fine with that. Now, if you get into the second half and you're 1 for 15 from the three and you haven't gotten anything in the lane, maybe you change your style a little bit. But I certainly don't mind if Coleman's pulling the trigger. Guerrier we know can shoot. And Damask, I'd like to see him get a little bit more confident from the outside, because if you get him confident from the outside, that's only going to help his booty ball game, if you will, because you've got to threaten that. The kid from Penn State that was so good at it, now I can't think of his name.
Jalen Pickett.
He could also hit a shot. He wasn't the best shooter, but he could knock a shot down. So you had to honor that, and that's what made him a lot more effective with being able to then just dribble you down and get to the bucket. So don't be hesitant.
Yeah, right. And I know that Brad, you'll hear it when we play it. I think he mentioned yesterday part of what he didn't like you said, against Indiana. And I asked him, how do you open up, or how do you get Terrence back to the rim?
Yeah.
And he's like, we got to hit threes. We got to have that gravity on the outside. That's partially Terrence being able to get the jump shot going again, but also a guy like Coleman not turning down open looks, Quincy not turning down open looks. Those two guys in Big Ten play have been 35+% from three, so they've been shooters. You'll certainly live with that for sure. Now, he mentioned like with this group, I'd be happy taking 63s. Of course, he says that jokingly, but so watch tonight. They'll chuck 43s. Now you hope you. I don't want this team to. I think at times they've settled too much from three. At times against Indiana they did. They maybe just
agree
within a possession didn't go inside, and Terrence in particular, some of his hesitancy has been to shoot the jump shot instead of going downhill. But last year in Columbus, actually, they shot 6 for 29 from three. Felt like they took way too many. This is a different team, though. They're a better three-point shooting team than last year. That was one of the worst that we had seen and one of the worst in college basketball. But I do think that it is kind of the hand-in-hand nature of, all right, how does Terrence get going? It's like, all right, he's got to get downhill to open things up for other guys, but then guys got to hit threes, including himself, to then make defense play you honest, because recently some of the formula has been defenses loading up in the paint. I know that's what Northwestern did and said, we'll dare you to have a night from three.
Exactly.
And there were times in that game, too, that Damask just showed hesitancy or Quincy maybe didn't want to shoot it as much. So there's a balance. You don't want to settle too much from the outside, but you do want to take in rhythm good looks from three. And the fact that Illinois with Quincy and Coleman, it'd be nice if Marcus because we know he's a better shooter than what he's shown.
Right.
Like, he's not a 24% three-point shooter. Now, on paper, that's exactly who he is this season, but prior to that, I think he was around 34, 35% as a career guy at Southern, and someone that, as we thought about, wouldn't get maybe as much attention on him from the perimeter. And I know with how much Illinois is running through him this year, that's probably been a little bit different than as you thought in your mind. Like, okay, we're going to run stuff through Terrence.
Mhm.
He'll be as a kind of a secondary thought as a spot-up guy, but with so much booty ball, he's definitely a focal point of Illinois' offense. But kind of it's both. It's not just three-point shooting. It's not just getting downhill. You got to have that balance. And really, I think for Illinois, you want that ball movement and flow to come back. Because when it's been booty ball sometimes, and I've said it a lot, some of it's by design. It's an isolation play. And if they're not going to double, you're going to back down, back down, back down.
Sure.
And then it's going to look stagnant, but that's kind of what they want as far as the matchup. If you're backing down someone that you feel comfortable with in terms of a size mismatch. Now, I wonder tonight, if you get Bruce Thornton in a back down, is that he's 6'2", but he's 215. He's built like
strong,
like a power back that you're going to use in the goal line
Maurice
situation.
Clarett down there.
Yeah, right. So that'll be interesting to see how it plays out. But also, just will Terrence play in ball screens, or is that something that's got to be ironed out in practice with some time where you don't have games, like between now and Sunday at home against Nebraska? Maybe that's where you rep him and you get him more comfortable. Because right now, Terrence isn't the same guy, so maybe you don't want him in those situations. But yeah, offensively, you need the flow to come back.
Every game's important. We know that. Tonight is ultra important to me. It's ultra important. You're a team that's, 14 in the net. You're ranked 14th. More about the net, obviously, than the ranking. But it's nice to be ranked. It's nice to be up there.
Mm-hmm.
And then you've got a chance to get some rest a little bit before a home game against Nebraska, a team that right now, as we mentioned, they're one of the last four in on that, as aforementioned, bracketology. Illinois, by the way, a 3 in that one. So this, to me, is just one of those games where I know it doesn't make up for losing at Maryland or losing Maryland at home, but it is a quad one that you pointed out, which shocked me. But they're like 68th in the net, Ohio State, I believe. So this would be a quad one win for now, which would be nice. And then again, you get a little bit of rest because Illinois had multiple games here and not many days off. And then all of a sudden, at least you get to go until Sunday with Nebraska, so you get maybe a day off in between. I'm not sure. But it just, tonight is just one of those games where it's kind of, you're kind of at the end of this little stretch. Don't give it away. Just don't give that away. It's kind of like playing a horrible team in baseball, and you've taken the first two of the series, and it's like we're playing at 1:00 today in Game 3 of this, the businessman special. Don't lose to this horrible team. Go ahead and get that win and get the sweep. I mean, for Illinois to get this done and then to really kind of get a little rest, refocus for Nebraska at home, and then kind of go from there. I think these next two games to me are pretty big for Illinois. Just get it done. That's all you need to do. Nebraska's a good team, but they're not as good when they're on the road. Mm-hmm. And obviously Ohio State is not a good team, a little bit better when they're at home, but just don't lose to Ohio State. Get it done tonight, get it done Sunday, and I think Illinois will be in a good spot.
For sure. I think that all things considered, you would be a little disappointed that, dropping the game in overtime at Northwestern when you had the last shot to win and then losing, of course, on your home floor against Maryland. But if you would have said, all right, Terrence is going to miss 6 games, and that's, let's say you go back to the beginning of the season, you don't even have the context of why, but that does add to it, of course, with the mental distraction, not only for him, but his teammates. So even add in, he's going to be suspended 6 games, and there'll be a lot of outside noise about him. And if you win tonight, you'll be 7-3 through your first 10 Big Ten games. You're a top 15 team nationally. You take that with
Big
actually, a chance to come up for air after this game, go home, get a day off, get ready for a home game against Nebraska, then have a week in between games.
Oh, I forgot about that.
As far as that one, and then a road game at Michigan State, you would live with that, especially because Sunday in Madison, either Wisconsin's going to take their second loss in Big Ten play, or Purdue will match you with 3 losses in the Big Ten by losing that game. So as
unless
long
Nebraska beats Wisconsin.
maybe, yeah. They could take their third loss. I like the way you think. So
Let's go, Huskers.
If Illinois, to your point, holds serve, beats teams they should beat, they're a slight favorite tonight in Columbus, but they're a favorite and they're the better team for sure. It's just you factor in going on the road. If they do what they should do and beat Ohio State in their building and then come home and play Nebraska, where Ken Pom says they'll be a 10-point favorite against Nebraska on their home floor, you'd be 7-3 with a win tonight, 8-3 with a win this weekend. And like I said, those two at the top in Purdue and Wisconsin play each other. Someone's got to lose. Maybe Wisconsin drops one in Lincoln this week. And you're feeling pretty decent about where you're at.
I would love it. I honestly, and again, I don't know why, but I think it's just because this game worries me tonight. So if you can take care of things tonight, I'm pretty confident you're going to beat Nebraska at home. I like the way Nebraska plays. They're a pretty good team. They are not necessarily your, Nebraska of 2 or 3 years ago. I mean, they're a solid squad that has Williams, who is good on both ends, plays pretty good defense. We know Tominaga can get hot when he needs to. So, and then that Rienk Mast has been really good. I mean, he's the Bradley guy that transferred, and you talk about a guy that at the end of the night he puts up results. He's getting you good scoring and good rebounding, and he's smart with the ball as well. So he's a guy that could do some fits with Coleman underneath playing that 5. There's no doubt about it. Now, Rienk likes to play a little bit further out. I don't know why we're dissecting Nebraska now. We don't play him till Sunday. That's my fault. But I think Coleman could have an advantage there if Rienk tries to take him. He's not exactly a bruiser underneath Mast. He can get around a little bit and shoot that little jumper. But, yeah, just get it done tonight and get a good road win. You said yesterday, that shocked me. They only won 2 road games last year in the Big Ten.
I think it might have been 3. It was Nebraska, Minnesota, and Wisconsin.
Oh, okay. Wow.
So they went 3-7 on the road in Big Ten play. Didn't beat a NCAA tournament team on the road.
How many? Let's see. If there are 2 losses or the 3 losses, it was at Northwestern,
at Purdue,
and of course
home
against Maryland. So just don't lose tonight. That's all I say. Don't lose to Ohio State tonight. That would be, to me, it'd be a tough loss to swallow.
It would. If you want to weigh in, you can. 217-359-2255 on the U of I Atlanta Link text line. We got a few to get to on the other side of this break. I'll tell you why. Tell me why. Don't do that.
No.
Anyways.
No. I did have somebody text me last night, and they're like, I'm still singing the Shadow song.
Oh, boy.
Where a shadow.
See, but your voice sounds way better than whatever the hell I just did.
Where shadow be.
But anyways, Value City Arena has been a house of horrors for Illinois through the years. Now, they've won a couple here of late, but I'll tell you why. This has been a tough place to play and just how tough it has been for the Illini in the last 20 or so years, even predating Kyle, who I'll bring up a game that he wasn't even alive for. Anyways, stick around for that. And not any more of my singing. If you already turned the channel, I understand. But we'll be back. Once again, 217-359-2255 on the U of I Atlanta Link text line. This is The Drive.
I'm Justin Ike, co-owner of Fred's Plumbing, Heating, Air Conditioning, Electric, and Underground.
So, Justin, tell me what you see as typical when it comes to sewer repair. Give me a scenario.
Your sewer's backed up and somebody comes along and says, you need this repair for X amount of dollars. Here's my price. And you don't think to go looking for another company or a second opinion because you don't feel like you have time.
So is it possible that you might get charged a little more because it's kind of a desperate moment? Do some companies do that?
Oh, absolutely they will. They know you're in a pinch. Typically, if you call us, me or Will can be out there within an hour to look at that problem for you. Whether you call me first or you call me second, make sure you give me a call.
Anything else, Justin?
You can always trust Fred's.
Great to know. Thank you. That's Justin Ike, the co-owner of Fred's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning, Electric, and Underground. If you want more information about this great 45-year family-owned company, just go to fredscu.com. That's fredscu.com.
A tradition of excellence over 150 years in the making. At Busey Bank, we're committed to building relationships that span generations. Wherever your journey in life leads you, we are with you along the way, creating a legacy for you and your family. Busey Bank, building business, growing wealth since 1868, proud to be the official bank of the Fighting Illini. Member FDIC.
PDR Automotive has now been serving the Champaign-Urbana area for over 50 years. To give you some perspective, 50 years ago ended the U.S. involvement in the Vietnam War, and it was when Secretariat won the Triple Crown. So what does that mean for you and your vehicle? Whether you need a carburetor overhauled or your new vehicle computer system diagnosed or programmed, PDR Automotive has the experienced, knowledgeable staff that can handle all your automotive needs. Online at pdrauto.com, they are what's best for your truck or car. They are PDR.
Get ready for the 8th annual Champaign-Urbana Area Restaurant Week. Over 9 days, we will eat our hearts out at local restaurants that span the world. Make your reservations early or get out anytime during a restaurant's open hours from January 26th through February 3rd. Don't forget to share your pictures and experience with hashtag CU Restaurant Week for a chance to win a $100 gift card to your Champaign-Urbana Area restaurant of choice. For more information on this exciting upcoming event, visit experiencecu.org.
We would like to invite you to the St. Joseph Ogden FFA charity auction on February 10th at the St. Joseph Ogden High School.
Dinner will be served at 5, followed by the live and silent auction. There are no tickets needed to attend, and anyone from the community is welcome.
Items to be auctioned include 45 bags of seed corn, various Milwaukee power tools, Toro mower, custom-made fire pits, Cardinal tickets, and various certificates for local businesses.
For more details about the auction, check out our Facebook page at St. Joseph Ogden FFA.
Hi, I'm JT Barnhart, the president of OSF Heart of Mary Medical Center. Really want to promote our emergency room services at Heart of Mary. Getting ready to do a campaign just to show the community what a great service that is. When you're in a health emergency and you need care, our team at Heart of Mary will take great care of you and we'll get you in and out. Our wait times are usually less than 10 minutes. Door to provider times have run under 15 minutes, and so you're going to see a physician in less than 20 minutes when you come to Heart of Mary ER. I think that's a sensational service for the community. One other area I want to promote is that OSF Heart of Mary is in network with your health insurance provider. We take all insurances, everything that is in the community, all payers, our providers, our hospital, our ancillary departments, our new surgery center, and our urgent cares accept your insurance. And so if you're having trouble getting in with a provider, know that OSF can see you timely, quickly, and we take your plan.
Hi, this is Chris Jackson with Kramer Siding and Window. And whatever your project, you can count on Kramer Siding to offer you the best products backed by the best warranties in the business, as well as Central Illinois employees dedicated to providing you with professional installation and a lifetime of great customer service. And right now, you can save 10% on roofing, sunrooms, and decks, get 15% off gutter helmet, and you can save 25% on preservation siding, windows, and doors. So call today or visit us at kramersiding.com and let's get started on your project.
Beautiful changes happen every day at Merle Norman. Whether you have a special event coming up or you're just in the mood for something new, you'll love Merle Norman's makeup service. Merle Norman has skincare treatments for radiant skin. Ask Marilyn about the special free gifts with purchase. Schedule your appointment at 217-359-8100. Experience the power of a Merle Norman makeover today. Available at 706 West Marketview Drive.
Tennessee's putting money in McDonald's bags. That was illegal. A lot of level 1 violations for that. And
Is
now
it always a McDonald's bag?
They've messed. I don't know if it was always. I'd appreciate it if it was.
Hey, they got free nuggets the other night.
Yeah, they did.
That's so funny that's classic how they get so fired up.
It's
for that.
a brilliant idea to get the fan base involved.
You got to be there. You got to have a ticket, right?
think so.
Okay. I would assume not
Well,
everybody.
they give you a code. So they
Oh.
announce over the PA that here's the code, text that to get your, I guess
Got
you could send it to your buddies if you wanted to.
Well, that's true. Or if you were at home watching TV and you could hear the code, or listening to the radio and you could hear him say the code.
Someone out there has created 5 phone lines so they can text their other phones the code and then go through the drive-through multiple times.
Nuggets everywhere.
I don't think the financials line up on that, but I think it's funny.
I'm trying to figure out this Tennessee thing because I asked you at the break, how do you get in trouble with NIL? Like, I don't know how you. Here's the last paragraph. It is intellectually dishonest for the NCAA staff, which would be Tennessee, to issue guidelines that say a third-party collective/business may meet with prospective student athletes, discuss NIL, even enter into a contract. So, in other words, they have a group kind of like Illinois has, the Icon, the Guardians.
Yep.
So,
Icon now.
Or Icon,
running
I'm sorry.
the Thanks for Illinois.
It sounds as though maybe Tennessee was pushing their group, which is like the Spry something group, into basically saying, here's what we want you to do. So so Brad Underwood can't go to Icon and say, we are trying to get Jeremiah Fears.
Correct.
So can you please offer him at least $500,000?
Correct.
They can't do that, correct?
They can't do that.
Or he can't do that to them. Now, Icon can go to Fears, right, and say, if you come here, we can make sure that you're getting maybe $500,000 of NIL. I mean, is that how it works? I don't even know. I don't know how it works.
It's super murky. Like, you're not supposed to, with the NIL, like, Icon's not supposed to go to donors and say, we need this money for this player.
Got it.
And the staff, Brad Underwood, Brett Bielema, anybody involved with the programs, isn't supposed to then go to Icon and say the same thing. Like, let's drum up this much money for this player, or to talk to a player and say, and enter into a contract, so to speak. So come to our team, we'll give you $100 million in NIL, which we're gonna personally be involved in drumming up for you.
Got it.
Which is it's all dumb because it's happening. Like, all of this is happening, and agents are very much involved.
Mm-hmm.
And again, like, I'm not saying that every head coach is in direct line with their collective and making those efforts happen, but why wouldn't you have conversations about what you need for a certain recruit? And I think that, I don't know, it just feels like this stuff is happening a lot.
Because I would want to know, if I were Icon and Illinois is recruiting, let's take last year, Morez Johnson and Jace Butler.
Sure.
So as someone that's fairly smart, I don't ever claim to be too smart, I'm going to understand that Morez is the bigger fish.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing against Jace. I'm looking at who's recruiting him compared to who would probably want Morez Johnson, right? So I can make the understanding as the Icon guy of saying, well, we probably need to push more money towards Morez than we need to Jace. But I don't need Brad Underwood to tell me that, right? I don't need, or anybody on the staff to say, hey, wink, wink, Morez seems like a really good guy to have, you know? So, but yet, if it were two guys, let's say Jeremiah Fears and I don't know who another guy we're recruiting right now out there that is also, let's say 2 4-star guys.
Yep.
I also then, how do I know which one Brad really wants? And according to what I think, like, Brad can't come to me and say, well, we'd be nice to have this guy, but boy, Fears would be really good in our backcourt. So I don't know. That's where it gets kind of confusing to me a little bit.
Right, and it really applies a lot, especially for Illinois recently in transfer portal additions on the basketball side.
Oh,
like
good
a guy
point.
like Terrence Shannon,
Yep.
go out there and get Matthew Meyer. And there are, of course, conversations about what it would take to satisfy these guys' wants to make a living and get their most market potential. And I think as the NCAA wrote these NIL rules, or as they conceptualized it, they're like, okay, these guys obviously have their own brands, that being players who have their own appeal, can sell their own gear, can sign autographs, make appearances. But as we've talked about a number of times before, the biggest driver of the NIL money as far as the big money that's going to like a guy like Terrence, or go pick a different place and their star player, their star addition in the portal, or their star addition in recruiting, if that was used as far as NIL goes, is like boosters coming together to pool up enough money to make it happen. It's not that they're going to get it's not because he's got 50,000 Instagram followers. They're like, oh, we could put our product on there and it'll go through the roofs.
Exactly.
It's just they want to be involved in getting these guys. So
that guy, Sky Clarks, was Spider-Man.
Yeah. Maybe Tobey Maguire will come in our car commercial. Like, no, that's not happening. It's not. So I don't know. I don't know what Tennessee did. They obviously could have been shown to have had these conversations, and I need to read through this article.
It doesn't really give you much of what they did.
Just a bunch of jargon.
Yeah. It says the case is fundamentally tied to football, but the Spire, with a Y, S-P-Y-R-E, sports group sponsors athletes in other sports. But yet if I give to Icon, let's say, I can say I want this going to Illini baseball.
Sure. Yeah.
I believe, right?
Yeah.
It seems like I did
I think,
that.
yeah.
I'm not saying I gave to Illinois baseball, although Dan Hartlow, come on. But I was thinking that I remember that it showed to where, or in other words, it could, do you want to just give to where then let them basically make the decision to dole out where the money goes, or do you want it to specifically go to a certain thing? I mean, I don't know. It's weird. I need to donate again so I can see how exactly it works, because that was a while ago, it seemed like.
Right.
Hell, you could do it at getting beer at Memorial Stadium.
Yeah, you can get Icon beer. I don't know if it's any good.
I don't either.
But also, yeah, like, don't they have now a sponsor?
Yeah, like
beer?
Instead of like you could almost like you were given a tip. I thought.
Oh, there's that. Yeah,
yeah. That's.
But don't they even actually have a beer? Or is that?
Oh,
not
maybe they
Illinois?
do. Oh, they do. They do. Yeah, I didn't know that.
Yeah, but I was in the same at Memorial Stadium, where instead of would you like to make a tip? Although I think that probably came up on the screen next.
Yeah.
Would you like to donate to Icon?
Because I joked with the person behind the counter. I'm like, well, I mean, I can either tip you or I can tip, and we were kind of laughing about that. But, yeah, I mean, you get me on a good day at Memorial Stadium, and Icon's going to make some cash.
It's a good idea.
No, it is. I mean, I agree. Every dollar counts in this. So
it's just interesting, and this goes down a completely separate rabbit hole, but when this gets opened up to like a salary cap, or when it's the DIA's money or the NCAA's money that is getting doled out to players, it's probably going to be on top of NIL. Maybe that then balances itself out. You don't ask as much from the boosters, but don't get me wrong, you're always going to be trying to hunt down an advantage if you're a certain program, where how can we get ourselves in position to pay more than other schools so we can get said recruit or said transfer or what have you, or keep a guy in a fringe NBA or NFL draft decision at school for another year when maybe they wouldn't otherwise. So the earning potential is only going to go up once that pocketbook gets open, because it's going to happen in terms of revenue sharing or what have you. I'll be interested in how that gets doled out. Will it be we then decide who to give the most money to? Are we going to treat it like a payroll in a professional league where Terrence Shannon's going to get the most and walk on, or say Nico Moretti or Hansberry or Gibbs Lawhorn will get the least
percentage?
Or is it just going to say, okay, we make this much in TV or make this much in ticket sales, so we'll give every scholarship player this much of a bonus?
You'd have a lot of scholarship athletes wanting that
in a lot of different sports.
You'd have the top of the thing there would, if I'm Terrence Shannon, I'm not going to be happy with the idea that Nico Moretti is making as much as I am.
You both got $400. I'd take $400
and free nuggets. And by the way, like, I lean on Kyle for things like this. Like, I feel like Kyle should bring his game to the show where he says, well, here's how it works with the Nuggets. Kyle, you're not stepping up. So Beth had to text in and say, actually, I think they just load the free nuggets in the app and anyone could take advantage of it. because a Eastern offer showed up in my app one day.
Nice.
So if EIU does this, like, does she mean Eastern Illinois?
I think so, yeah.
Okay.
Problem is I just don't care about the Nuggets. I'm probably lame for that, but the problem is that especially like when it's like crucial free throws down the stretch, and it's like, get ready, we got free Nuggets on the line. I'm like, I care about if this goes in, we might lose the game. I'm not worried about Nuggets right now.
You keep your priorities right where they are. I like that. I can remember when
there's other people that want the Nuggets. So
when Lucas is like, my oldest is like really, he's shrewd when it comes to money, right? So when he was at Arizona State, like he said, Dad, I've got it figured out. There's 7 items on the dollar menu at McDonald's or something. Like he had it figured out. Like I can go for $4.85 and get this much food. I'm like, oh my God. Wow. Okay. Dude, I remember we had a McDonald's at SIU in the rec center, and you're usually always passing through the rec on your way. It's kind of like Central Station, right? And then you can branch off either direction to go to another, either to your dorm or your apartment or back to a different building. I can remember, I've always gotten my entire life 2 cheeseburgers plain, fries, and a Coke, right? That used to be $2.89 when I was in college.
Wow.
$2.89. I would take $3 every day. Not every day. I didn't eat it every day, but I would have $3 in my backpack, and I could get that meal, which filled me up at the time, and it still, I guess, does kind of, except I'm hungry like an hour later now. But it's like now that's like $10 to do that, and it's like, holy crap! I'm either that old or we're going in the wrong direction in a hurry.
That's expensive,
but I think I am that old. I don't know. That was 92, so that's oh boy. Don't even do the math. Let's just move on. 34 years. Woo!
Before we'll catch one more break, but on the note of just kind of a hodgepodge of different things, the pick and roll offense. I went into the old Google machine. It tells me that the Utah Jazz, which that was going to be my first recollection. I didn't want to be that guy though who didn't have the foresight of like, no, actually in the 70s, Pistol Pete was running the old pick and roll to perfection. And I'm like, John Stockton and Karl Malone invented it. But it did. Multiple sources comes up and says that it was really prominent in the 90s in the NBA, most notably John Stockton, Karl Malone.
Yep, and we're a copycat thing, especially in college. We're always copycat. Like the kids themselves are always copycatting, if that's a word, the NBA guys, it seems like, with what they do. So, no, that makes sense to me. Like the 90s makes sense. I know Bill said that it's always been like that where the big man came up and set a screen. I don't recall that. I mean, we had big men back in the day that just got your, basically pinned their guy underneath the bucket, essentially, and you either received a pass from the point guard at the top or closer to the wing, or the wing himself dishing the ball inside with a bounce pass that every coach in America wants you to do instead of just trying to throw it over their head. So, but yeah, the 90s makes sense to me because nobody did it better than Stockton and Malone. Those guys, man, were they good. That had to have been so frustrating to play, especially if it's new. Like, not that it's – I'm sure they've done it in the past, right? Bob Cousy was maybe doing it with not Robert Parrish, but with oh, my gosh, I'm forgetting the big man for the Celtics. But anyway, it's one of those where Stockton and Malone – Bill Russell, thank you. Stockton and Malone really, really put that together, and teams were probably like, I don't know what to do. I don't know how to stop it. And that's why Karl Malone is like, third all-time scoring or something? And we know how good Stockton was as well. So it's too bad those guys never got a title. And it's your fault.
It's not my fault. It's my guy's fault.
It's the Bulls'
Jordan,
fault.
The Bulls era, yeah.
I always like the best of the best deserve a title.
Yeah, I get it.
I've always said
all
that
the
about
great players that Jordan prevented from getting titles.
Right. Charles Barkley never got one.
Barkley's definitely one of those.
There's a lot of good with Larry Fitzgerald.
Ewing never got one.
Ewing never got one. Yeah. Johnny Starks. Boy, they had some battles.
They did.
You had to really appreciate and respect John Starks. Because as good as Jordan was, Starks was a guy that said, you know what, I know he's the best, but I'm going to go out there and he's going to have to bring his best to beat us. Because Starks just battled him. And Jordan normally got the best of him, but I always appreciated John Starks, what he brought to the court.
Starks battled him. Reggie Miller battled him.
Oh. Did Reggie get a title? No. Man, could he shoot.
And they took them, I think they pushed them more than any other
anybody.
team, especially in that final year. It went to Game 7.
Yes.
I think Reggie had a game winner. Was it in Game 6?
Seems like it.
Or
Where he
Game
just
5?
he just kind of stood at the three-point line or whatever that was. I can picture it kind of
You
in
need
my
to go
mind.
back and watch Last Dance again.
Oh, yeah. Boy, Reggie Miller could shoot. And it was unorthodox, kind of. It was perfect at the release. But, the way he shot was kind of a little bit of a – he was a skinny dude, though, that could just shoot from anywhere and quick. Just boom, boom. He was fun to watch. Reggie Miller was fun to watch. He could get a little bit under your skin, too.
I would say so. Him and what's his name?
Yeah.
Spike Lee.
Spike.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Spike.
Okay, Bill, you were saying that it was I was saying that that was for the high post style offense, which has been around forever. When you had a big that could handle it, he would screen high and set up. Yeah, makes sense. Guy that could get up there and shoot that little jumper from the free throw line. That makes sense.
No doubt. I did say we're going to catch a break and come back. I'm just going to push it now.
Who?
This is on air producing. I did say we're going to catch a break and then come back, but no, we're not. We're just going to keep going. But
Sorry, Kyle.
I do want to give you one more thing on that note when you said it's the Bulls' fault for not letting that guy get a title. So that's where I try to that. There's a little voice in the back of my head where I'm like, man, I'm sick of the Chiefs. Or LeBron's in the finals every year. Or I always liked Steph Curry and the Warriors, but people are like, I don't want to see the Warriors again.
Right.
It's too old. We've seen it before. I'm like, how many people were saying that with Jordan back in the 90s? Even though that's the team I glorify and whatnot. But
it's horrible.
When you're on the other side of it, it's quite different.
I've always said that it kind of ruined the NBA for me. And take that right. I loved Michael Jordan. And, well, no, let me start over. I'm a Sixers fan. But you had to appreciate greatness, right? And you were seeing the greatest in my mind. So I loved every second that I would watch him and marveled at everything he did. And those Bulls teams were so good. They always had just, Bill Winnington. I mean, even him would have big games when they needed it. And John Paxson and on down the list. But they became so dominant that I became disinterested more and more in the NBA because it was almost like, well, I wonder who's going to win the title this year. Yeah, and it's true. And I've always said that about now women's basketball. Growing up, like when I was at SIU, I did the play-by-play for SIU women's basketball. I always kind of followed the women's game, not as much as the men, never have, but I followed it with Cheryl Miller and players like that. But when UConn became when Tennessee and then UConn became it was either going to be one of those two teams, then it was like, well, what's the point of watching? Like, UConn would get to the championship game and win by 25, and it's like, that shouldn't happen in any sport. Like, that should never happen, but it does. I mean, there's been Super Bowls that have been extremely lopsided, 45-6, 9, whatever, but it just shouldn't happen that way. There shouldn't be sweeps like in 2004 when the Red Sox swept the Cardinals. There should not be that kind of stuff because if you're telling me the two best teams are meeting, which we know isn't always the case because it might be in 2004 may have been the Yankees and the Red Sox were the two best teams clearly, but yet one of them had to lose to get to the championship.
And one was down 3-0 and then came back.
That is correct. Wow. What a run by the Red Sox. Crazy. Is that one of the best runs a team has ever had in the history of sports?
Reeling off 8 straight.
Yeah.
Down 3-0, come back, win, and then sweep a World Series.
8 straight to win the ALCS against your hated rival, and then beating probably the most iconic National League team, at least in terms of World Series titles, in 4 as well.
And the year that the Cardinals had 3 MVP candidates?
Gee-many. Yeah. The big 3, the MV3 they called it,
right? On ESPN magazine.
And there I was in Game 4 when Jason Marquis, I'm like, let's get one tonight. Let's get one. First pitch, Johnny Damon or whatever. Maybe not first. Damon hits a home run. I'm like, dang it, we're done.
Yeah. Speaking of we're done with this segment.
We are
because
done.
Kyle's
We're
going to
done.
kill me. We got to catch a break. I will bring up the historic stats as far as Illinois and Columbus when we return. This is The Drive.
Illini fans, gear up to support your Fighting Illini men's and women's basketball team this year at the official fan store of the Fighting Illini, Game Day Spirit. From buy one, get one free basketball t-shirts to official NIL merchandise, Game Day Spirit has everything you need to support your Fighting Illini. Shop with them in store at the corner of Neal and Kirby in Champaign, 6th and Green in Campus Town, or online 24/7 at GameDaySpirit.com. Game Day Spirit, where Illini fans shop.
You're listening to WSJK ESPN 93.5 Tuscola, Champaign-Urbana, your home for the St. Louis Cardinals.
A day-long hearing on Capitol Hill. Lisa Brady, Fox News, as House Republicans on the Homeland Security Committee try to advance articles of impeachment against DHS Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas.
This is what's going to happen. The House of Representatives is going to impeach Secretary Mayorkas, and there is absolutely nothing anyone can do to stop it.
Texas Republican Congressman Tony Gonzalez says every district in America is impacted by the border crisis, but it's been nearly 150 years since a cabinet member was impeached.
There are two articles of impeachment. One accuses Mayorkas of not enforcing the law. The other says Mayorkas lied to Congress by saying the border was secure, but Democrats believe it's all political.
Fox's Chad Pergram on the Hill. A report from Democrats on the committee calls the impeachment articles vague, unprecedented, and fallacious. The impeachment debate adding to the finger-pointing over border talks in the Senate.
Both sides have an obligation to tune the partisan noise out and to continue working. Bipartisanship is the only way that action on the border is going to happen.
Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer says those talks will continue, but House Speaker Mike Johnson says his chamber passed a bill months ago.
Our Secure the Border Act, which has all the necessary provisions to get this catastrophe under control.
He also accuses the president of falsely claiming he needs new authority from Congress to act. Democrats accuse Republicans of wanting to keep the crisis going as a campaign issue. The commander-in-chief making personal calls today after Sunday's deadly drone attack on U.S. troops.
President Biden spoke to the family members of the 3 American soldiers killed in Jordan and will attend the dignified transfer at Dover Air Force Base this Friday. The 3 American soldiers belong to an Army Reserve unit from Fort Moore, Georgia.
Fox's Jennifer Griffin at the Pentagon. The president also says he's made a decision about a response to the attack blamed on Iran proxies, but no details released. America is listening to Fox News.
These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
What's up? I'm tired of feeling so bloated. That used to be me. Then I got this. Align Bloating Relief plus Food Digestion. A probiotic, right? Yeah, it works naturally with your gut to help soothe occasional bloating and gas. Plus, it has vitamin B12 to aid digestion by helping convert food to cellular energy. 2 benefits, 1 capsule.
Align Bloating Relief plus Food Digestion from the #1 doctor-recommended probiotic brand. Get $5 off at AlignProbiotics.com.
You're all set with your Medicare prescriptions, Mrs. Brown.
This is not just low-cost copays at Walgreens.
I can actually help you set up 90-day refills if you want.
This is having a partner you can trust. Get low-cost copays, 90-day refills, and delivery from your neighborhood Walgreens. This is being independent. Together. Walgreens.
Restrictions apply. For details, see walgreens.com/pharmacy.
Former President Trump stays on the primary ballot in Illinois. The state election board making a unanimous decision after a retired judge who questioned Trump's eligibility to run also told the board it should be up to the courts. The U.S. Supreme Court hears arguments next week in a Colorado fight over using the Constitution's insurrection clause to keep Trump off the ballot. Missouri Congresswoman Cori Bush is under investigation by the Justice Department over allegations of improper campaign spending.
Representative Bush, a Democrat, confirmed the DOJ probe to reporters on Capitol Hill, simply saying,
"We are fully cooperating with this investigation."
She said even with threats to her safety, the House cannot give her protection. So within limits, she has hired that security. Some are noting that Representative Bush's husband is being paid to provide that security. She defended his employment.
He has had extensive experience in this area and is able to provide the necessary services at or below fair market rate.
The Justice Department is not commenting on the scope of this investigation. Gernal Scott, Fox News.
Bush also suggesting the claims are politically motivated. Legendary performer Chita Rivera has died.
She was 91 years old. Rivera's daughter revealed in a statement that the multi-hyphenate performer died in New York after a brief illness. A memorial service will be announced asking for any donations in her memory to be made to Broadway Cares Equity Fights AIDS. Rivera's Broadway credits date back to 1950 and includes roles in West Side Story,
I like the city of San Juan. I know a boat you can get on.
Guys and Dolls, and Kiss of the Spider-Woman. Rivera was a recipient of the prestigious Kennedy Center honor and won 2 Tony Awards. Michelle Polino, Fox News.
A mixed finish on Wall Street today. The Dow up 133 to a new record close. I'm Lisa Brady. This is Fox News.
Hello again, everyone. Let's check weather for East Central Illinois, Champaign and Pan vicinity. Almost a wee Clipper-style weather system on the move across the Midwest, generating a few stray spotty showers, a little rain and wet snow as the morning wears on. Back in later this afternoon, but a good part of the day will be precipitation-free, and this is really the only significant weather system on the maps and charts. We move back into a milder Pacific flow here for the end part of the week. Matter of fact, the old parts of the week as well, and beginning part of February. No sign of any cold air returning. Weather will ramp up into a little more active mode just beyond the first week of the month of February. So far, so good in this mid-stretch of winter time. 38 today with, as mentioned, a stray shower of rain and wet snow around this morning and back in later this afternoon. West-northwesterly wind, a lingering sprinkle and snowflake around this evening, low down to 32. Partly sunny, milder for the day tomorrow. Light west wind, southwesterly in the afternoon. Highs at 44. Partly cloudy, 51 on Thursday. Still well into the 40s for Friday and the weekend. For Stevie J Broadcasting, I'm meteorologist Greg Solier.
It is The Drive with Sam Piper, ESPN Radio 93.5. Derek Piper, Lante, Kyle Tosk. A few more details in reading further on the Tennessee NIL scandal. Apparently, they had a quarterback commit in March of 2022. Shortly afterwards, it was reported that he signed a $8 million contract, NIL contract. So I'm assuming, as I read through the lines here, is that they're alleging that Tennessee had that in place essentially for a pay-for-play.
Got it.
Because that's surely not happening anywhere else in college athletics.
Not at all. So
shame on you, Tennessee.
Shame on you. I asked you, I'm like, why is Duke, why are they never involved in this stuff? Or Ohio State? Or
to mess up the American Express commercials that Coach K had for 20 years.
It's a good point. And now I'm hearing him yeah, I'm just so happy for that coach and how they've done. It's I do like Coach K, though.
Yeah, he's okay.
I mean, you're right.
I always hated Duke.
Guy was going to live in Muhammad. That fell through, you know.
That's what I heard, yeah.
Yeah, that's too bad.
That's what I heard.
Wouldn't that be funny if, Coach K...
Do we know where? It was supposed to be land in Muhammad, right?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe Jimmy John's guys got that land now. Maybe Jimmy bought that. Wouldn't it be funny if Krzyzewski pulled the trigger now and bought ground in Muhammad? Just had
you see him out there golfing in Lake of the Woods in the summer.
Right. It's holy crap, that's Coach K. He did own.
He did.
No, I never did, but I do now.
Oh, what's that? Now that I live in Muhammad, I live over by that golf course. I should know what that street is, but if you've golfed over by Lake of the Woods, I think it's hole, is it 4 or something? Where it's right by the road.
I'm trying
and
to
if you're bad enough at golf, especially if you
slice it, yeah,
you're out by the road looking for your. What if you're
guess what I've done there?
Yeah, Coach K's out there by the road, pitching out.
Did you use a Callaway, son? I did. Okay, it's right over here, and you're out of bounds. All right. Can you throw that to me, or no? Oh, okay, you're just going to keep that.
I don't want to make anybody mad, but isn't it funny how people who live on the golf courses, it seems like they have a reputation for always being mad if you hit it in their backyard.
Yeah.
It's you chose to live here.
That is correct. And my dad always said that. He's like, you know what? I'd fire away. Fire away at them. They're the ones that decided to live on the golf course.
Should my buddy work on his swing if he's smacking your deck with his drive? Probably.
If my house was left of everything, I'd be okay, right? I would never hit my house if I don't ever hook. It's always just a slice. So, yeah, I mean, that's dangerous to live on a – old Timmy Beckman lived out there. Remember that house? What was that, off of 5 or something? I think he teed off on 5, and Beckman's house was right there.
Is that right?
Yeah, that's we'd
You
always
could smell the lasagna from the putting green.
I'm like, I bet Beckman's got beer in his fridge. Like, surely that door's unlocked, but I'm not going to, like, enter a house I'm not supposed to. I think you can go to jail for that.
Yeah.
So I'd rather not go to jail. I can afford my own beer, I guess.
I should have just guessed on this one. It's Lake of the Woods Road.
Oh, well, that would make, like, total
appreciate a couple of texts, Wes and listener Muhammad. Yeah.
I'll take Lake of the Woods Road for $500.
It's Lake of the Woods Road, ... for Muhammad. Yeah, my bad. I've only lived there for like 2+ years, so
well,
my
that's
bad.
why you don't know it, because you've lived there and now you don't notice it.
That's right.
Right? It's
the street I drive on.
Of course, now I grew up in the country, right? So where I grew up at Patterson Springs is kind of between Camargo and Tuscola, and I never I understand what street names are, right? But I never – so, like, the difference between someone that grew up in town as opposed to the country is that you would say, you know, hey, where does Tom live? Well, he's at 103 East Lincoln. Now, you would know where that is. Me, you'd have to say, you know where the Christian church is, right? Yeah, take a right there and go down by the park. You take a left at the slides, and then his house is the red house on the right. Like in the country, you went to like Farmer Joe's barn and took a left. And we don't ever say left or right in the country either. You say the direction. Yeah, Lon, you go up to the barn. You head due south, and then
I've never been good with that stuff. Like what? I don't even know.
I know. I always have to like to this day, right? Somebody will be like, if I'm pointing the direction of west, I think of Los Angeles because I know it's out west. So I'll be like, yeah, well, that's West Pipes. And in my head, I'm picturing L.A., Chicago, Florida, or New York. That's how I do that's how I do it. So I had a buddy one time. I know I've told this story, but he was a college football coach at a very small level. And they decided, their defensive coordinator, he helped with the defense, decided one day that they would call out blitz packages. And they told the linebackers, like, if we say an East Coast, I know I've told you this, if we say an East Coast town like New York, then the right outside linebacker's coming on a blitz. If we say like L.A., then it's the left. And so they started practice or a game or something, and, you know, they're like, Boston, Boston, Boston. And, like, the two linebackers didn't know, and they're like, we truly have to just make it numbers. Like, if we say an even number, you go, and if we say an odd number, you – because they didn't know where they were confused. I'm like, what if you throw out Chicago? He's like, well, then both of them come. You know? That's the inside
Chesapeake
blitz.
Bay.
Right. Hell, I'd be confused on that one. I'm like, wait a minute. Saskatchewan. Like, that's the one thing, Canada. I can't figure Canada out. They're provinces.
Yeah.
So there's like Quebec province, but there's actually a city of Quebec.
Quebec, I think.
Or Quebec. Like Toronto is in Winnipeg province. Is that right?
Is it?
No, not Winnipeg. I don't know. Sorry, I'll get off that. Canada's got me fooled still. And there's only like 5 provinces or 7. I mean, it's like, you know, the continents. There's not that many to learn. But for some reason, I can't figure out Canada. Good place to go, though. Good fishing.
No doubt.
But buy your beer in America because it is, wow. I assume still more expensive in Canada than it is there. So, all right, I'm done.
I did want to give you some stateside history as far as that goes. In terms of Illinois going to Columbus.
No Canadian Football League stats?
I don't have anything on that. Today. Sorry, my bad.
Quincy Guerrier would know him.
I'm sure he would.
He would know some Canadian stats.
I'm sure he would. Let me take you back to 1998, where Kyle probably was not born yet.
Is this Trent Darby?
No.
Okay.
So Illinois beats Ohio State in Columbus in 1998. Kevin Turner leads with 24 points, 14 apiece for Matt Heldman and Jerry Hester.
Oh.
Surge comes off the bench, as does Victor Chukudebe, who plays 18 minutes. And Illinois beats Michael Redd's Ohio State Buckeyes.
Scooney Penn, Michael Redd, they had a really good team.
Mm-hmm.
They beat them the next year, right, in the tournament, Big Ten tournament.
Is that right?
That's when they went on that improbable run with Corey and those guys.
So
I think that was the next year.
That was January of 98.
Okay.
From that point forward, Illinois has won how many times do you think in Columbus?
Oh, my goodness. So that means we had to go through who was the good guard, big Greg Oden, and who was the guard? Mike Conley.
Evan Turner.
We had to go through the
D'Angelo Russell.
The white kid that could shoot so
John
well
Diebler.
And just lit us up. We had to go through
Matt Sylvester.
Yeah. Since 98.
Since 98. And that was their last season in St. John Arena.
Yeah, I remember that.
Then they moved into Value City Arena after that.
Which should be a winnable place.
Oh, yeah. The atmosphere is very dull.
Thank goodness that we didn't pull the trigger for Thad Matta. Hoopston, Illinois, shout out. I'll say 4.
You're dead on.
Is that right?
They've won there 4 times since 1998.
Oh, my goodness. Wow.
Twice in the last few years. They beat them the regular season finale of the 2021 season with Iowa's return with the Black Mass.
Yeah.
Going there. And that was some great battles between Illinois and Ohio State that year. Of course, they rematched in the Big Ten Tournament Championship as well. And then I think they beat them the following year. Let's see as I look this thing up.
They beat him Io's freshman year when he hit a clutch shot.
That's right.
Late in the game.
Good call.
I think.
Kyle was 8 and somehow knows that.
I was in high school by then.
Thank you, Kyle. They beat him in 2019 with a late Io shot, and then also in 21. Lost there in last season.
Yep.
72-60.
I remember that.
And you'd have to go all the way back. They beat him one time in 2009 and also in 04, but as we all know, they lost there in 05.
Right.
65-64. And I swear, I've covered I don't know how many games now in Columbus. It feels like they've made it Matt Sylvester reunion day every time. There's always half the time or more he's there.
Mm-hmm.
And then if not, they show some tribute or shot of him on the video board.
Yes, Wes, that was Illinois' only conference. So that was their first loss of the year.
Yeah.
They were like 30-1. They only lost 2 games the entire year.
So they were 30-0 going into that game, is that right?
Something like that. I mean, it was the last game of the season, I thought.
They were 29-0. Last game of the regular season.
And lost that game and
65-64.
Then won the Big Ten tournament, then made it all the way to the championship with North Carolina. Wow. Yep. Sal brings up Aaron Kraft. Why? Why'd you have to bring that up?
Oh, yeah.
Man, between him and Kramer from Purdue, those two were like clones. And you respected the hell out of them because they could just absolutely.
Were they both going at the same time in the league?
It seemed like they were, but maybe
all
I'm
meshed
wrong.
Together. Just annoying.
Like you couldn't watch when those two teams played because you couldn't handle 2 pit bulls going at each other the entire game. Man, they could play defense though. Whew, that's 4 losses. Or I'm sorry, 4 wins since 98.
It's been tough.
And Ohio State's had some really good teams.
They have.
Final 4 runs with Thad Matta. I mean, so it's not like this is last 5-year Ohio State. So, man, John Diebler. Dude, he and who's the kid from Michigan? The shooter Stauskas.
Yeah.
Those two just lit Illinois up.
No doubt. It definitely did.
It's like that. I wish there were like bad memories would leave your mind. Like, why do we always remember those? Like, I believe a coach when he says, I remember every loss. But like when Diebler made I swear to God, he made like 4 straight threes right in front of the Illini bench. Or not Diebler. Stauskas made like 4 straight threes in front of the Illini bench. It was like he would just kind of look over his shoulder. It's like, are we going to maybe cover him? Or somebody put him 3 rows back the next time he pulls up for a jumper? That's kind of cruel.
Those John Beeline Michigan teams, man.
Oh.
They got to be missing those times in Ann Arbor. Big time. The reason why Aaron Kraft and Chris Kramer are so cemented in our minds is because they were back-to-back. They played 4 years and then 4 years.
Oh, my
So the Big Ten had 8 straight years of either Chris Kramer from 06 through 2010 and then Aaron Kraft from 2010 through 2014.
Oh, my goodness. And there's not one person that wouldn't want them on your team.
For sure.
Not one.
Now, I don't know if I'd go as far as when Dan Dockich said he'd take Aaron Kraft over anybody in America if he was doing a college basketball draft.
No.
But
was Kraft the kid that was on the boat with our guy?
Bruce Pearl.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Barbecue or something.
There's a barbecue.
Pearl was showing off his muscles.
Sure.
Oh, wow. Aaron Kraft. And I tell you, Kraft and Kramer, man. They even had the same name. Man, they were good. They were so good. They would meet you at half court, and I would not have wanted to be a point guard. Like, can you imagine playing the last 2 years of Kramer and the first 2 of Kraft, and you're a point guard in the Big Ten, and you're just like, I give up. I'm out. Have the big man bring the ball up. I'm done. Because they would meet you at half court and just bludgeon you to death. And half the time play good defense.
Yeah. Chris Kramer
No,
in
I'm
particular.
kidding.
Like that Purdue team, they were hacks, kind of. Like that's what the rest of the Big Ten would say. They would foul you so much the ref couldn't possibly call every foul. They would just be so physical with you.
You're so right, Derek.
That then it just set the tone of how they were then allowed to defend you.
They would foul you 50 times and be called for 20.
Right.
Because you're right. Every time down the court, you could blow your whistle.
Yeah.
And then you'd get Matt yelling. Matt's been there a long time.
It's true.
He came after Katie, right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know how many times Illinois beat Aaron Kraft, but that's what made that first run of the TBT.
Yeah.
I remember watching it in the old studio
Yes.
during, of course, COVID and everything. The House of Pain, Andres Felice and company, beating Aaron Kraft. And what was that team's name? Do you guys remember?
Wasn't he like a doctor?
Yeah, right?
Or
And they're
something.
Like, this is Aaron's last go, and they're the defending champs, and then Illinois knocks him off.
What was our name or theirs?
Theirs, I couldn't remember. Carmen's Crew or something like that.
That's it. That's it. You nailed it. Carmen's Crew. Good call. Man. That was
for a moment, for a window in time. Illinois TBT was the real deal, man.
We had on. Who was the dude that was from like Virginia? Played at Virginia or West Virginia or something.
Well, there was South Dakota State.
Well, that guy, but there
Mike
was
Dom.
Dom, but there was another kid that had a big game, and we had
it was
him
like
on.
Kyle Vanalis, I think.
That's it. I think. Yeah. Did he play at like Virginia Tech?
I forget where he played.
Maybe it was Virginia Tech. But I remember having him. You set it up to where we got like Dom and then Vanalis or whatever, and it was like that was one of the best days ever.
Yeah,
that was fun.
Shout out to Mike Latulip. Those were fun days getting him on and getting those guys on.
Is that done, or are they still doing?
They didn't have a team last year, and I don't know.
But the TNT itself,
the TBT still,
or TBT, not
still
TNT,
happens. Yeah,
TNT, Dynamite. Yep.
Good memories.
Oh, yeah, there's no doubt.
But then some bad memories for Illinois and Columbus. Hopefully tonight is not another one of those. We'll talk more about the matchup before we finish out.
Tyler asked if McCamey was on Ohio State. He was.
Yeah, he was.
He went and played a year with that Carmen's Crew.
A couple years, I think.
A couple?
Like, they were trying to get him to come back to Illinois' team, but he had already won a title with them, and he decided not to play with Illinois.
That was McCamey's karma to everybody that couldn't stand Dimitri McCamey. Like those people that not couldn't stand him, but didn't think he was that good. He was so
really
good.
He was really good.
If you would have given him any kind of talent. Yeah. Well, I mean, they had some, though. Did he play with Mike Davis?
Mike Davis, Mike Tisdale, Mike and Mike.
No, that's right.
Too bad they couldn't get his high school teammate, Evan Turner.
Was that the Richard Simrau?
Yeah. That era.
One day we should go through all the Illini, like Bill Cole, Richard Simrau.
But the year they had, I think it was my senior year, or no, sorry, early on in my time at Illinois, they had that core of Dimitri and Mike, and then also they bring in Jeremy Richmond and Myers Leonard, and I think they also had Brandon Paul and DJ Richardson.
I mean,
that was supposed to be a loaded team.
That's a good group. And then
they
Jeremy
lost second
gets
round to Self.
Didn't Jeremy get
in a fight with Brandon Paul?
And he got suspended from the first game of the tournament, didn't he?
I think
Maybe
so.
not because of that, but like he didn't get to play in the NCAA, did he? Or the very first game? I don't know.
It's blending together.
That's too bad. That Jeremy Richmond story is I mean, I think he's spent time in jail, and that's too bad. I mean, I'll never forget. I've said this 100 times. Sitting in the Villa Grove parking lot at the store, buying a Sunday paper, and seeing that Jeremy Richmond had committed to Illinois as a freshman, and going, what? But yeah, didn't he got in a fight with Brandon Paul in high school, right?
No, it was in the locker room after a game.
Didn't he get in a fight in high school, or did he just hit a big?
Oh, Or
he hit a
got
half
kicked off of Waukegan, I think, for a fight on a school bus.
Warren Carter.
Loved Warren Carter.
He was awesome.
Yeah.
I walked into the Philo Tavern one day, and Warren's sitting right there at the bar.
No doubt.
I was like,
really?
that's Warren Carter.
That's awesome.
What's up, Warren?
That's awesome. All right, we're due for a break. Let's hear from Brad Underwood when we return. Spoke to the media yesterday, getting you geared up for Illinois and Ohio State. And then, of course, we'll have our predictions before we get out of here. Hit us up, 217-359-2255 on the U of I Illini Link text line. We'll be back. This is The Drive.
Valentine's Day is always beautiful at Merle Norman. Whether you're hosting a Galentine's brunch or have a date night planned with your person, Merle Norman has your color covered. Stop by for a new red gloss or grab your bestie to book a makeup appointment or enjoy the beauty consultants yourself. You can find the Valentine's look you're going for, from sweet to smoldering to super spicy. Merle Norman, 706 West Market View Drive in Champaign.
Have you ever wondered why you pay your bank to have a checking account with them? We do too. At Fisher National Bank, we offer free checking accounts that reward you to bank with us. Our Rewards Cashback Checking offers 2.02% cash back on debit card purchases up to $500 monthly. No service fees or balance requirements needed to earn rewards. For a free checking account that pays you back, simply make 12 debit card purchases, receive electronic statements, and have one direct deposit within a monthly cycle. It's so simple. We bet you're doing most of these things already. With Rewards Cashback Checking, you have access to Reward Saver, which earns 4.07 annual percentage yield on balances up to $20,000. Reward yourself with free Rewards Cashback Checking and Reward Saver, a few of the many ways Fisher National Bank invests in our customers. See monthly requirements at any branch or fishernational.com. Fisher National Bank. Exceptional communities, exceptional people. Member FDIC.
Kelsey Furniture in downtown Tuscola sells Tempur-Pedic beds. What's it like?
I'm going to tell you right now, Stevie, that thing is the best thing I've ever slept on in my life. My wife and I both have said we've never had better night's sleep. And the people at Kelsey's were fantastic. Brian is the guy that helped us. You know, as much as I did my research, he has a world of knowledge about beds themselves. Oh, man, it's like sleeping on a cloud, man.
Kelsey Furniture, downtown Tuscola.
If you're in the market for a new car battery, you could go to one of those big box stores, except there's no guarantee you'll be served by an actual car expert.
Clean up in aisle 3.
You could pick a battery off the shelf, except it might be close to expiring. Or you could just come into Interstate. Don't make a big box store blunder. With competitive prices and a more personal, reliable approach, Interstate Batteries is the clear-cut choice if you want to guarantee yourself a new and trustworthy car battery. They're open and ready to serve you at 2504 North Mattis Avenue in Champaign.
Have you ever looked at a junk truck and said, man, that truck is pretty? Two men in a junk truck. Trucks are pretty. They're pretty big, so they can handle large jobs. They're pretty reliable. Two Men in a Truck has been recognized as a trusted leader in the moving industry for over 35 years. Now we are proud to offer that same reliability to junk removal, and they're pretty fast. When you're ready to let some things go and that you don't need, you don't want to wait 3 weeks. You want it gone now. Go to twomeninAjunkTruck.com and make room for what matters most.
I'm Justin Ike, co-owner of Fred's Plumbing, Heating, Air Conditioning, Electric, and Underground.
So, Justin, tell me what you see as typical when it comes to sewer repair. Give me a scenario.
your sewer's backed up and somebody comes along and says, you need this repair for X amount of dollars, here's my price, and you don't think to go looking for another company or a second opinion because you don't feel like you have time.
So is it possible that you might get charged a little more because it's kind of a desperate moment? Do some companies do that?
Oh, absolutely they will. They know you're in a pinch. Typically, if you call us, me or Will can be out there within an hour to look at that problem for you. Whether you call me first or you call me second, make sure you give me a call.
Anything else, Justin?
You can always trust Fred's.
Great to know. Thank you. That's Justin Ike, the co-owner of Fred's Plumbing, Heating and Air Conditioning, Electric and Underground. If you want more information about this great 45-year family-owned company, just go to fredscu.com. That's fredscu.com.
First Federal Savings Bank of Champaign-Urbana invested in our community since 1908. Before you buy your home in 2024, we invite you to speak with one of our experienced lenders, Jack, Jim, Kim, or Lane. Experience the convenience of working with a local lender with local service, decisions, and loan underwriting in our comfortable offices. Visit us to experience the exceptional friendly service from our knowledgeable staff. Hey, if you're not already banking with us, give us a try. We think you'll love it here. We do. 356bank.com, First Federal. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender, NMLS 435120.
Illini fans, this year we celebrate the 100th anniversary of Memorial Stadium for the 2024 Fighting Illini football season. Join us in Memorial Stadium as we honor 100 years of tradition and continue to create memories for the future. Season tickets for the 2024 football season are on sale now. Secure your season tickets for Homecoming, Dad's Day, and a special rededication of Memorial Stadium on October 19th. Experience more cherished moments in Memorial Stadium this season and lock in your tickets today at fightingillini.com.
This is a familiar sound in Illinois.
Cold snap grappling with heavy snowfall while bracing themselves for a significant winter storm.
The snow will come, but you need to go to work, to school, to the store, to care for family. When the weather's rough, you need a vehicle that's tough. Sarah of Champaign wants to put you in an Outback, Forester, Crosstrek, or Ascent. There are so many reasons why a Subaru SUV is the best vehicle to drive during winter months. Standard symmetrical all-wheel drive, vehicle dynamics control, 8.7 inches of ground clearance, and available X mode for when the snow is extra deep. That adds up to performance and safety. Don't wait for the next storm warning. If you have to get where you're going, no matter the weather, see the huge selection and great deals at Sarah Subaru today. Route 45 in Savoy, or online at sarahsubaruchampaign.com.
Looking back at the Indiana game, it was kind of a gritty, grimy win. I thought Indiana played extremely well on the defensive side. I thought they had a few days to prepare. I thought they were very consistent in what they did defensively and what they were trying to do. We still had over 1 point OER, but I thought they did a nice job keeping us out of transition. Again, we were very, very solid on the defensive end. That being said, I thought we executed our game plan on that side. Trying to not allow them threes. I thought that we kind of mixed up what we did against. Geez, I'm just drawing blank. But they're a big kid. Anyway, he got 12 attempts, and we did a nice job of doubling him. And Renew, thank you. But I think we were solid. It wasn't a pretty game, and then we made plays when we had to down the stretch and got key rebounds. And I think they had 2 shots outside of 10, 12 feet. And it's very hard to win in today's college game when you don't make threes. So Buckeyes up next, the team that has an elite wing, Jameson Battle. He's obviously in an Ohio State uniform. I shoot 48% leg play from the 3. Bruce Thornton, point guard that's big, strong, physical, great mid-range game. And then they do it by committee at the center spot with Zed Key and Akpara. And then the Gale kid has been a really, really good player for them, especially in their wins. He's averaging 17, 18 a game in their wins. It's just a good basketball team. They've had a couple of very close losses. They're better than their record. And Chris's teams are always very solid on the defensive end. So we'll have to go play very well.
There's just a couple of times you sprinkled in some zone. Is that something you like having in your back pocket just to throw off the other team?
It's not zone.
Oh.
It's not zone. So you can call it that if you want, but you know we don't play zone, so it's not a zone.
What is it?
Switching man that we kind of just made stuff up with and kind of threw it out there and kind of just you know, it's kind of distorted a little bit, and we let Coleman kind of play center field in it, but you know, we still do a ton of switching, and it's truly man with Coleman just kind of roaming the paint.
But you looked like early on you went to the bench looking for a spark, whether it be Nico or Dre or Dane even. Like, is there anything that can be built upon that in this week or kind of moving forward with those guys?
Yeah, you know, I think it's one, they've earned it. They're really good players. You know, I think that every game has its own identity. I thought that, you know, Nico early, I was trying to look for a little pace and tempo in the full court. You know, Draven obviously hit a big three, but he's a guy that can crack a defense with his ability to penetrate. He's like I said from day one, he's one of our best shooters. So him jumping up making the three doesn't surprise me. But it was just kind of a feel thing at the moment. I thought Dane was very effective in his minutes, and so you know, it's Luke obviously was impactful off the bench. So you know, there's quite a bit on that bench. You know, more than just Justin and Luke.
What do you think has to happen for TJ to get back to the rim at a higher rate? I know some teams are loading up inside, but how do you look at that?
Make threes, shoot more. He's got to literally shoot more. He's and that's our whole team. You know, our 3-point rate's way too low, and you know, we're turning down really good shots, and he's you know, he's a guy that was shooting 41% prior to that, and make him guard you. And that's everybody. Quincy shooting 43%. We want him to shoot more. Coleman's, he turned down 5 the other day. We want him to shoot more. If I could take 63s, I'd take 63s. You know, with this team, and we just got to shoot more.
Is that turning down shot thing, is that something that's just recently cropped up? Like, I don't seem to remember thinking a lot about it prior to like Northwestern.
No, I mean, I think, you know, you start looking at, you know, driving the basketball and cracking the defense, and you know, there's that fine line there, and you know, maybe we emphasize that too much, maybe we don't, but good shooters have to shoot the basketball, and we've got to take good threes, not just great threes. We have to take good threes, and we've got to make sure we're in a position to get those. And like I said, you know, you got Coleman, Quincy, Luke, Justin, all those guys, Marcus turned down 4 or 5. You know, those guys turning down shots when they're open to try to drive it, and we got to clean that up.
I mean, how do you address that maybe now? I mean, obviously in the game you can't take them further.
Yeah, we just talk about shooting good shots, and talk about, you know, if you're open, shoot it. And you know, we're going to go offensive rebound it. That was the worst thing we did in the Indiana game, by the way. It was our lowest offensive rebound rate. But again, you know, it's having the confidence to know when guys are open, they're going to shoot it, and then we can go rebound it. And you know, now we kind of overcut in the Indiana game, I thought, and you know, we've got a great shooting team, so we want to be that team, and not try to do too much.
Obviously, you're familiar with Jamison Battle, but what does he bring different to Ohio State now?
I mean, he's just an elite shooter. They lost a couple of guys last year, kid from West Virginia, McNeil, and they all run together. The big kid from Harvard to Sal. I mean, all those guys were really, really, really good shot makers. And then the kid was a pro. So they had a one and done. So he gives them tremendous shooting. And they're a team that he's a veteran, he's old, he's been around, he's been through the league. He's a good rebounder for his position. And you put him with Gale and Thornton, and that's a very, very good 1-2-3. So yeah, he's a good, solid Big Ten basketball player and has been for a long time.
Last of these 2-day preps in this stretch coming up here, how does it impact the team the most at this point in the cycle of it?
Only when you guys talk about it. Only when people talk about it. And I get it, we're in it, and I've talked about it probably too much. It's guys want to play games. Guys don't want to practice. We're in practice mode. We're trying, we're obviously not taking days off. Yesterday was a heavy film day, and we practiced, an hour and a half. And it's got that component to it that we all need a day to ourselves and a day to get better and maybe add a few things. But other than that, that's it. We're not adding much. We're staying very vanilla in our preparation. But guys want to play, and it's a 40-minute game, and we're going to go out and play as hard as we can and be as mentally focused as we can.
You mentioned Saturday, just the luxury of having Luke was, Quincy Saturday maybe an off day that you got someone who can fill that spot. I mean, what's the bounce back look like for Quincy maybe after his toughest game?
Yeah, he was great yesterday in practice, and again, a day that it wasn't that he played better, had an off day. It was a day that Luke was really good. Luke was making shots, and their bench is trying to account for him, make sure their players knew where he was at all times, and we had the ability with Justin to drive the ball in there with that lineup, and Terrence and obviously Marcus. It was about creating as much space as possible. It wasn't that Marcus did anything bad. It was just more that Luka was making shots and creating space, and that was a big part of that.
You said maybe overcutting against Indiana, but it seems like you guys are a team that's really good at cutting, like as a whole. Is that an age thing and experience? You're old. We talked about. Is that something you guys really?
We've spent a ton of time on it. We've spent a ton of time on it this summer, and we were a mess last year. We overcut and we cut on top of each other. We did a little bit of that the other night. When we had Coleman and Ty in there especially. We were overcutting, and sometimes just standing's okay. And playing, into our booty ball and playing to the double team, and then just moving it, and then playing what the defense gives you out of that. And sometimes we just had too much movement, too many people getting in another guy's way. And we talked about that a lot and worked on that yesterday.
By now, you've all heard the expression, when you turn the key and the car won't run, call 367-9481 for PDR Automotive. They are what's best for your truck or car. They are PDR. But who are they? They, the PDR staff, understand that a name is only as good as the people that represent it. The PDR staff has more than 335 years of combined automotive experience, several employees now on staff for more than 25 years. PDR, more than just a name. Family owned and operated, now celebrating over 50 years in business.
Hi, this is Chris Jackson with Kramer Siding and Window. And whatever your project, you can count on Kramer Siding to offer you the best products backed by the best warranties in the business and a lifetime of great customer service. And right now, you can save 10% on roofing, sunrooms, and decks, get 15% off gutter helmet, and you can save 25% on preservation siding, windows, and doors. So call today or visit us at kramersiding.com and let's get started on your project.
Hi, I'm Tyler Weaver, president of Carpet Weavers Flooring and Furniture Gallery. It's time to come home to Carpet Weavers. We don't want you to just like your new floors. We want you to love them. From waterproof floors and carpet to furnitures and design advice, we've got a team of experts on your side. We'll get you the best price and the best quality products. And complete your home with furniture and accessories. Buy it all with free financing too. Come home to Carpet Weavers, where floors furniture, and family meat.
Gear up to support your Fighting Illini this season at the official fan store of the Fighting Illini, Game Day Spirit. Shop their great selection of t-shirts, sweatshirts, and NIL jerseys as you cheer on your Fighting Illini. Visit them at the corner of 6th and Green in Campustown, Neal and Kirby in Champaign, or online 24/7 at GameDaySpirit.com. Game Day Spirit, where Illini fans shop.
So when was the last time you saw a best deal guarantee?
You mean a promise that actually held up?
Right.
That some unknown online entity didn't want you to log in and download a code and then re-verify as you join some club?
Drives you nuts, I know.
And then once you purchase that set of steak knives...
Well, Dick Van Dyke Appliance World is a lot simpler. You find a verified great deal and they beat it. Just show them the deal you saw. A newspaper clipping or the online cart price will do, and then you're good.
At Dick Van Dyke Appliance World, it's one of those instances where you see a best deal guarantee and...
you get the best deal.
This is Dennis Rieken, chairman of Dick Van Dyke Appliance World. Our exclusive 10-year protection plan comes free with most appliance purchases. Whether it's a GE, Whirlpool, Frigidaire, Bosch, or any of our 30 brands, I guarantee we will beat any competitor's deal. Wow!
Dick Van Dyke Appliance World. When you buy from us, you get the whole store.
Since Busey Bank first opened our doors in 1868, we have built upon a tradition of close relationships and broad financial capabilities. Our experienced team provides the highest level of personalized service to ensure we accomplish your goals, simplifying your wealth management and business lending needs and ensuring a legacy for generations. Building business, growing wealth since 1868. Proud to be the official bank of the Fighting Illini. Member FDIC.
2 Men in a Truck has been recognized as a trusted leader in the moving industry for over 35 years. Now we are proud to offer that same reliability to junk removal, introducing 2 Men and a Junk Truck to the Champaign area. Our goal at 2 Men and a Junk Truck is to help you make room for what matters most. We can make your garage, attic, basement, house, or business look bigger with our furniture or appliance removal. Contact us today at 2menjuncktruck.com.
Hi, this is Amanda Jean, the founder and planner of Inspire Your Wedding and Events. After the big yes, are you daydreaming about the big I do? Join us for premier, interactive, immersive, inspirational wedding showcase to bring together vendors and couples from all over Central Illinois for your big day. Come away with ideas and vendors that will make your wedding one of the most inspiring days of your life.
Save the date on Saturday, March 23rd at the historical and unforgettable Orpheum in downtown Champaign.
For complete details, visit inspireyour.com. That's inspireyour.com.
At Pards in Urbana, the boots just keep on coming. They're known for their huge collection of men's cowboy boots, women's cowgirl boots, kids' boots, and even shoes. If you're searching for top footwear brands, look no further than Pards. They carry a wide variety, including Ariat, Dan Post, Smoky Mountain, Roper, Double H, and more. And if socks or accessories are what you need, they've got all your high-quality essentials. Since 1968, Pards has been serving their customers with high-quality merchandise. And if you haven't been to Pards in a while, a lot has changed. Go check them out just off University Avenue in Urbana.
ILLINI. Cheer on the Illini and Pia's. The pregame fun starts at Pia's Sports Bar and Grill. Pia serves up its famous 10-ounce Slugger Burger along with great wings and so much more. Enjoy 350 22-ounce light and course light drafts every home and away Illini game. Watch the game at Pia's or ride the free shuttle to all home games. You'll find it all at Pia's with live video gaming, sports, food, drinks, and fun. See you at Pia's, West Springfield Avenue in Champaign.
Try to do it one time, Kyle. Just once.
One time.
Be out on time.
Can you answer
Which I
these?
probably should because, yeah, I'm going to.
Yeah, answer these people's questions to why you're not in Columbus.
I'm lazy.
You're lazy as hell.
I got suspended.
You lost your press pass.
Yeah.
Let's get to the bottom of this. Derek Burson and you had it out.
Yeah, we did. We exchanged words at Oven yesterday, and so he said, "You are not credentialed." I got the Doug McDaniel road game suspension.
You totally have.
I have.
That makes total sense.
I didn't go to Michigan. I didn't go to Ohio State. You fill in the blanks. They let me in at home games because, I don't know, it would look bad if I wasn't there.
I feel like NBC or one of the networks, like, if you're just joining us, Derek Piper is due to have a baby at any moment.
I am.
That
yes.
is the reason.
Thank you.
January 28th was the due date.
It was, yes. And now the final date,
Overtime.
You're out of here date is Friday the 2nd.
You're out of here date.
So between now and then, it could happen, and it will definitely happen on Friday, if not before then.
It's like the wiffle ball game that never ends when you're a kid, but the darkness is coming, and you're like, okay, guys, one more inning, and then and that's it. The darkness will be on Friday, although that'll be not darkness. That'll be awesome.
Right. So I did not go to Michigan a few weeks ago. Admittedly, it was kind of playing it safe. I just didn't want to be 5 hours away in case my wife went into labor. And the same thing applies definitely now. We're past the due date. And in overtime, I'm not going to go 4.5 hours east and then get that call. So
now, Cade went big time OT.
He did 10 days.
10 days
past
of
the
overtime.
due date, but they're not going to let my daughter go that far. So we're going to do Friday as a induction in case she doesn't come on her own.
Haley's probably like, well, I'm glad we have overachieving kids when it comes to not wanting to be born. It's like,
yeah, man.
I can't imagine. I would be terrified to have a child. I've said it 100 times. If guys were supposed to deliver babies, our population would be half the size. We'd have to give up drinking for 9 months.
Right. Oh man,
the pain. We can't stand a cold, let alone the pain of delivering a child, which I can't imagine what that's like. Yeah, I'd be like.
Oh, and then you see how we react to our sensitive area.
Oh yeah. There's no way.
You're down on your knees, rolling around, coughing.
Nope, not having a kid, not having a child. No way.
Yeah.
You want kids? You need to go meet another dude. Because I'm not delivering a baby.
It's funny because I not to turn this into a fatherhood show or anything.
Oh, let's hear it.
I tiptoe around when my wife is like, man, I don't know if I'm ready to give birth again and all this stuff. I'm so careful about what I say.
Right.
So I'm like, it's going to be okay. It'll be a breeze. And she'll be like, oh, really? A breeze?
You think this is what it is?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm so careful about what I say to that. Where I'm like,
there's no right answer.
I get why you'll do great. You were a warrior last time, which she was.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I just want to.
You were born for this, Haley. Maybe maybe use that one. See what she says.
You were born to have my children. No, I don't want to do that. Definitely don't want to do that.
That's funny. Everybody's like, oh, crap, we forgot about that. Yeah, that's the reason that Derek Piper is not venturing out of.
Yeah.
Not far from Lake of the Woods Road.
Out of state lines. No.
Exactly.
Yeah, Lake of the Woods Road. I'm like, oh, yeah, that's the spot.
Instead, tonight he's going to drive around and listen to it because he doesn't have Peacock. No, I'm kidding. You've got Peacock.
Don't you tell people.
It's the first Lon Peacock mention the whole time. That's
I've done
shocking.
Wouldn't that be funny if I did player grades but only listened to it on the radio? The inflection in Brian Barhart's voice sounded like that was a tough shot for Colin Hawkins. I don't think he should have taken it. 2.5 stars.
2.5 stars. That would be funny. Yeah, I forgot this one was on Peacock. You got, Iowa at Indiana on BTN.
That's right.
Followed by Michigan and Michigan State.
Is Michigan State on Peacock
I
or
think so.
BTN?
Oh, that's
Peacock.
on Peacock as well. That's wonderful.
What would be the magnitude of a game to break Lon's?
Nothing. No,
obviously you didn't watch Chiefs Dolphins.
I told
but if
you
he was
this-
a Dolphins fan like Kyle,
Right.
it might have been different.
Well, that would be the magnitude.
You probably would have went to a bar. Or
I
something.
probably would have gone to a bar, which I could have paid Peacock for 8 years if I'd have done that, But somebody did ask the other day, they're like, I know we got to get to predictions. It's funny that Lon will pay for Netflix, but he won't pay for Peacock. But here's the deal. I watch Netflix all the time. Like Peacock, I would only be watching Big Ten basketball. That's it, which is 2 games a week,
Yeah,
I
maybe
think.
a few times a week.
Or I think, yeah, I mean, they always do, like on Tuesday, it seems like there's 2 games on Peacock. And then the rest of the week, it's either FS1 or BTN or Fox. So I'm not going to do that to watch Peacock 1 time a week. I'm just not going to do it. I'm not going to do it.
I was telling you during the break, they got like reruns of Office, or I mean, not reruns, but you can go back and watch it all, and Parks and Rec and some of that kind of stuff. I don't dabble in Peacock a whole lot otherwise.
Just doesn't do it for me.
And Jack Collinsworth is on the call tonight. I wonder how that's going to sound.
Who's that?
Chris Collinsworth's son.
Are you serious?
I am serious.
Oh, wow.
No nepotism at all involved in that.
I didn't. First of all, I didn't know he had a son, which I don't know why.
He's on the
I would assume he
very
didn't.
forgettable Sunday Night Football pregame where there's like, they have like 9 different people give predictions.
Oh, I guess I've never seen that.
And,
I've never seen him.
You know, Tony Dungy and Rodney Harrison.
Yeah.
Jason Garrett.
Wait, Scott,
It's quite a crew.
is NASCAR on Peacock this year? Some of them?
Is it?
I bet there might be like 12 races. Well, guess what we're not watching? Martinsville. They're racing around Martinsville this Sunday, but Lante will not be watching.
You're going to trick your mind doing the gnat sound. You're so good at that.
We are live in Darlington, but Lante is not. I mean, I'm just. Bill got testy with us, but I didn't see it.
I didn't see it either.
Bill's always testy. Come on. Right?
Oh, I see.
We
that.
love Bill.
Yeah, I know.
We love it.
It's all good.
He's up there fishing for walleye in Canada. All right, we got to get predictions now.
All right, we do. If we're going to go out on time, but we probably should.
I'm going to go an Illinois win, but I told you it's unsettling to me when we play in Columbus, and then you prove that fact by telling me that Illinois has won 4 times there since 98.
98,
That
correct.
is crazy. I did not realize that. I will take Illinois, and I think this will be a slog. If that's a word I've used twice now in 2 days.
It is a word.
I'm going to go Illinois 70, Ohio State 65. I think it's just going to be one of those.
Could look like a game where they're on the end of a 17 straight day type of
right.
No days off and whatnot.
And that said, I hope we come out to a 20-2 run.
Be nice.
I'd be like, okay, I'm all right with that.
By the way, Illinois currently favored by 3.5, so the line's moved up a point. I think it was 2.5 at the open, and now it's 3.5. I'll let Kyle go before I give my pick.
Kyle, what do you got?
I think this one's going to play out similarly to how Michigan played out a couple weeks ago in Ann Arbor, where first half, close game. I think there's going to be a little more offense in this one. I don't know. Illinois hasn't defended very well recently. I think that they're going to be better than they were Saturday on offense. But I think close game first half, Illinois pulls away, has a big second half.
I'll take it.
Maybe Terrence Shannon gets going there and hits some big buckets down the stretch. I'll go Illinois 80, Ohio State 71 final.
Okay.
Like that, for sure. I am in the same realm as you guys. I do think Ohio State will get theirs to a relative level offensively.
Yeah.
Like Jamison Battle's probably going to hit some shots. Bruce Thornton, I do think, has the potential to be a problem in the pick and roll.
Would agree.
A guy that just is a really good player. But Illinois, going against the Ohio State defense that's towards the bottom of the league, should have a nice night offensively. I'll be interested how much they play Ty Rodgers because this is a game. Really, here recently, his minutes have been cut into. I thought he played pretty well against Indiana.
I could see he and Thornton going at it.
Yeah,
I agree with you. I like that idea.
And maybe his size is a better matchup than Justin Harmon guarding him.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Plus, if might just say, all right, Mahaffey, we'll shake hands at midcourt. Mahaffey won't shoot a jumper, and neither will Ty. Deal? Deal. All right, here we go.
Everybody's happy. Except for the Peacock people that don't watch
That's
it.
true.
Yeah, everybody else is happy.
Yeah, Collinsworth hasn't seen any of these teams play anyway.
That's a good point, though, with Ty Rodgers getting some extra. I like
a little bit more.
I like that.
I'll take Illinois. What did I do in my preview pick? 78-72.
Yeah, there you go.
Remember what I wrote.
I'm a stalker.
Illini by 6.
I like that. I like it. 217. What if your daughter shows up Thursday and sees her shadow? It is Groundhog Day.
Again,
the classic Bill Murray
that's
movie.
a great movie. I love
it. I've got it recorded right now.